Hey, hello guys, welcome back. Blaines here, and we're going to look at some new Zelda stuff as well, guys, that you probably heard yesterday, at least if not from my video, from somebody else's video. That Zelda Hyrule Warriors thing, a Breath of the Wild prequel, delving right into 100 years ago, was released, or announced for release in November, coming this year. Now, that's very soon, and it looks like we're going to be getting a very detailed story prequel to what happened in the events of Breath of the Wild. Now, we played Breath of the Wild extensively on my channel. We're going to be playing Breath of the Wild 2, big time 2, and we're going to be hitting up Hyrule Warriors next as well. Now, it's all in the R style of Breath of the Wild, and it looks great. It looks really, really cool. I've never played a Hyrule Warriors game because the gimmick of it doesn't really appeal to me. But you know what does appeal to me? Not in this case the gameplay itself, just the gameplay, but actually the story and just the visuals as well. Because we're going to be playing as the champions. We're going to be playing in familiar areas. Things that meaningfully add to the story of Breath of the Wild, a great experience that a lot of us have already had. And guys, in this video, I'm going to look at the memories from Breath of the Wild, which show the 100 years ago events to a certain degree. There's about 30 plus minutes of video footage of memories of the prequel story, you know, the story that happened 100 years ago in Breath of the Wild, in that game. And now in Hyrule Warriors ad as well, we get to see a lot of recurring scenes that we've been at and we've seen before in memories and in gameplay of current day Breath of the Wild. So let's have a look at all that stuff compared together. So first up is probably one of the most important, the very starting grounds of where Link was knighted by Zelda, and Zelda clearly showing a dissatisfaction with this whole situation, whatever it means to her at the time. She's obviously not happy. We know there's been a lot of fighting between Zelda and her father. Zelda's been trying to break out of a cage, a royal cage that she's been kept in. The champions are all here to witness these events. He's being knighted. That's it. Like, he's becoming her hero. We actually do see this area where this event takes place in the Hyrule Warriors ad, and we're going to look at that in just a second. But even the heroes here can clearly show that it's not a happy situation. It sounds like we already lost, he says. Well, as you guys know from the story, they do lose. All of these characters are coming back, and all of these characters do appear to be playable in Hyrule Warriors, including Zelda. Swapping to the comparison between the Breath of the Wild and the Hyrule Warriors areas, you can see them right here on the camera where we get a zoom in of the massive hordes of moblins, just surrounded by these pillars that are obviously in structure, whereas in Breath of the Wild, 100 years later, they're gone, they're destroyed, but there are still some remnants of them in that area. Very cool. So this is obviously a very meaningful place for Link and Zelda and the whole story. Next up, guys, we get a dose of Urbosa. Now, as you guys know, Urbosa is going to be a playable character. Well, it definitely looks like in Hyrule Warriors. And in this memory from Breath of the Wild, we show Urbosa as a very significant caretaker of Zelda, you know, almost like a nanny. And in their discussion with Link while she's asleep, she really, I suppose, shows her despair about Zelda not being able to access her powers that she's been trying. And that definitely reflects the previous scene we just looked at as to why she's frustrated, why she's so sad all the time in all of these memories. Zelda is very, very sad in all of these. So what are we going to see in Hyrule Warriors? Are we going to be seeing very disappointed, very sad teenage girl, you know, like you might imagine? I don't know. It must fit in, right? It has to fit in with this, but she is definitely a playable character. She's definitely carrying her own in a certain extent in battle in Hyrule Warriors. So is there canon going on here, or is that just gameplay? So guys, we also see Urbosa talking about this whole routine Zelda's going through, which she's kind of trapped in by her father. She's desperately trying to access these powers her father's talking about, and she has nothing to show for it. Urbosa is just able to say that straight up, flat as fact, right to Link's face, no problem. Even with Zelda right there, whether she's asleep or not, you know, it doesn't really matter. She's not sugarcoating it at all. It's the real deal. I mean, she is also playful. We do see her playful side right here. Okay, so I mean, she's a good spirit. She's fun. Not too phony, not too fake, kind of like the aunt a lot of kids might wish they had around when they were young or something like that. How can we imagine? Openly laughing about it. So the relationship is solid. This whole group is solid. So here's a little bit of footage of Urbosa actually fighting the Yiga clan in the town where the whole Gerudo people live, and we get to explore it. that's it. I mean, she's fighting against her own, I suppose, rival tribe here in the desert. We can see Link standing in a plain and empty version of it. That's really all there is to that. As for Urbosa, I wonder what her story is going to be in dealing with the Yiga clan, because we know Link's was significant in Breath of the Wild. The next clip here of Zelda fleeing the Yiga clan shows very clearly what is going on from what we saw in the Urbosa clip as well. They're at war, guys. This is a big war that's happening back then. It's not just the Yiga clan, but apparently the whole Ganon thing comes out of this somehow. And I'm really excited to find out exactly how this goes down. Because, I mean, the Yiga clan are clearly in a powerful position, whereas in our modern day Breath of the Wild, Link's defeated them. They're there, but they're not really a significant force anymore. We actually take out the leader in the main game. So here he is. He's actually feared now as well. He's obviously has a reputation as a fierce warrior at this time, which he re-establishes 100 years later. The next one's a major memory of Zelda and her confrontation with her father, the difference of paths, what they want to do versus what she has to do, I suppose, and the introduction of the robots. Now, we know these Guardian guys come out of the tower's holes in the actual trailer from Hyrule Warriors. It comes out of those glowing spots on Ganon's castle, okay? So that's just unveiling some of the research Zelda is actually discussing right here. She wants to research them. We now just get it thrown at us in the trailer. They just come right out of those things right there, okay? I don't know if that's just a passage for them or if that's making them or something. But you know her father here is big, alright? We're in the castle zone right here, and her father has big plans for Zelda. Zelda doesn't want to go along with it, but everyone else is on their knees. Their discussions are always tense. We have evidence of them having some access and some control over them. We don't know what turned them yet. We don't know what changed them from ally beings, at least waiting to be discovered, to actual enemy warriors that destroy the place. Because absolutely later we do find out that has happened. There was a progression of those robots from friendly here 100 years ago to actual enemies the same time period, where Zelda's fighting them at the very final memory, which we're going to see a little later, guys, and I'll bring this back up again just to remind you. But it's a very short period of time at this time where that changes. There's a transition there. So hopefully in Hyrule Warriors we're going to see a big moment where something, Ganon of somehow, how he does it, converts these robots into enemy warriors. But you can see the king fending her off her dreams and trying to bring her rigidly back onto the train tracks of her duty as he sees it. You know, he's always depicted as a very powerful figure, not just in these memories, but also in the Hyrule Warriors game, the trailer at least, as well. And that is depicted by the low camera angle facing up to look at him in the trailer, and we'll see that, especially with Link always kneeling in front of him too, always, and not just Link as well, guys. Wait until you see the trailer after this memory, okay? The father wins out. I mean, he's the king, Daphne's emperor of the Hyrule, alright? But that is the end of that memory. Another confrontation between the princess and her daddy. In an area very close to what we just witnessed right there, just on the castle walls, we have this scene here. King Daphne's commanding his troops from above on the tower. Another very powerful image from behind him, showing him ruling over a lot of the people down below and commanding them to the battle. And as of course in the modern day, present day Breath of the Wild, we have Link standing there on a broken tower with nobody to speak of down there. Very hollow, empty picture indeed. But there's another image we need to look at of King Daphne's. Here we have a very powerful camera image, a low camera angle pointing up, showing a full King Daphne's embodiment with an angry face. A very powerful image, guys, depicting him again in Hyrule Warriors as a powerful figure. Nothing too odd or weird going on there, but as we play for a few seconds, guys, we have that image again. Link is kneeling, and presumably another main character, possibly a young Impa, people are suggesting. And now people were talking about the cute little girl in the Akla labs, or the labs near one of the villages, guys. That's not her. It looks like her hair is similar. It looks like she has little ears on top. It's not her because she's much bigger here. she's huge. Now, I think there was some... Actually, you know what? It could be her, come to think of it, because I think the lore of Breath of the Wild specified that she actually accidentally turned herself into a child. That's right, it's all coming back to me now. Yeah, it could be her. Or people were suggesting a young Impa. So either young Impa, because of the hair, or possibly that little girl, who's not really a little girl. She's a really old woman, scientist from back here, from back these days. Cool, could be her. But anyway, they're both on their knees. Again, another powerful image. Zelda standing up to her father. Again, another interesting image of strife between daughter and father. Something to note though, guys. As you know, Zelda was dedicated, hell-bent on becoming a scholar of sorts. And you know what, guys? It looks like she may have pulled it off. Based off of the story in this Hyrule Warriors trailer, guys, she's using the same abilities as Link. She's using the ruins that we collect when we play through Breath of the Wild. So this may be her journey as a scholar going on in Hyrule Warriors right now. So she may very well have betrayed her dad's wishes and gone down her own path here. The one clear image of the castle we actually get in the memories is here. From afar, Ravioli going up in the air here, looking at the castles going under its transformation, being taken over by Ganon right here. And this gives us a big layout of the whole area. Now this is the best picture we have of the castle in the memories that as far as I can remember, as far as I can find, and that's it. But it's going under its transformation. We do in the Hyrule Warriors get a glimpse of that castle too, so let's have a look at that. Here's the castle in the distance as well, transformed and not transformed, present day Link and Hyrule Warriors time. So as we can see, guys, the memories in the actual Breath of the Wild are passing the story in Hyrule Warriors, interestingly enough. So that means there's going to be quite a considerable overlap between the memories that we've experienced in Breath of the Wild and the story that we get fed in Hyrule Warriors, the new one coming. So I'm looking forward to seeing what sort of pieces of the puzzle get put together there, because they're going to have to be very careful not to contradict the memories. I'm wondering how closely they're working on that, because it's very possible a Hyrule Warriors game that's used to being a spin-off sort of gimmick thing is going to have some issues with the lore here, and that's if they're working together closely or not. Now, we do know they're working closely with the Breath of the Wild team, including the voice actors and everything, but can they get it right is the question. Will they be able to make sure this is watertight? Now, Nintendo do not have a good reputation for making stories watertight. The whole timeline of Zelda has just been thrown together at one point way after many games have already been released, because they just decided to do that. The Zora's Domain, a major home base for one of the champions and her people, the Zora, of course. Well, we have this very touching scene between Link and Mipha. Mipha really trying to play in on Zelda's territory here, trying to lap up Link for her own. A reminder of what we experienced in Ocarina of Time between Link and Ruta. Ruta? Well, you know, as you know, guys, little Ruta wanted to marry Link and forced him to keep that promise that she remembered 7 years later when he traveled through time. It's a very similar situation going on here. She's making moves on Link. Link goes to Betty Buys, and then 100 years later, 100 years later, dude, we're doing this whole thing again, having their voices in our head, stuff like that. You know, she's kind of a sage in Breath of the Wild, as she is in Ocarina of Time, I guess. And this is probably some sort of lineage going all the way back there. They even have the same symbols to tout as well. But yes, the Zora Domain does appear in just a little bit in the Hyrule Warriors area as well in the trailer, and we can see that. Right here, guys, a very small snippet of the stairs going up to where you join King, what's his name, the Prince, and Prince Sidon, and you get the best music in the game, and you go flurrying down to the water elephant and right into him where you fight the next Ganon. Guys, we're going to end with the single most important memory. You guys probably all know this. It's one of the best memories, is the best memory in the game. It's one of the most touching as well. And this is it. This is the moment where it all ends. This is really the end of the war as far as we get to see it in its depiction. Or at least this is the biggest turning point that leads to the end. We're leading a tired, despairing Zelda down this dirty road, getting drenched, soaked, wet. You know, she's crying, adding to the rainfall. She's just despairing about the end of the war. It's all going wrong, as you can see from what she's saying. But she hasn't awoken her powers yet. Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead already. And by the way, they're trapped inside those things, so they're not actually killed, as far as we know it, as far as the conventional sense. But they've been trapped inside the divine beasts. So at some point in the Hyrule Warriors, they're going to find their way into those divine beasts, and they're going to get trapped. That has to be the case. I mean, that's the story. That's the story, right? So I'm wondering if there's going to be some sort of spin where we get to play as those champions and try to accomplish something, but actually in the end, we're not rewarded with just a regular reward. We're rewarded with the story bits that we need that confirms that they were trapped. They're stuck in those divine beasts and what even happens. So here is the progression from that previous memory, guys. The war itself, the very finale, Link's grand stand, and Zelda's awakening too. So Zelda, I guess, as we play her in Hyrule Warriors, is going to be completely without any special powers. She looks like, as we saw, going to be using the runes, the same runes that Link uses, so we might have the very same abilities. He's just chucking bombs as far as we see in the advertisement. And here's where the moment when Link gets put to sleep, in essence. You know, he almost dies. Almost. Zelda becomes all-powerful. Pretty much. That's it. That's her final awakening. Something she's been trying to do the entirety of all these memories, guys. And she finally does it at the moment where she needs it the most. But it's too late, you know. The war is over. They lose. Whatever happens to Zelda at this point on, she gets trapped in the castle. It becomes a spiritual entity that can speak to us across the entire of Hyrule in our head. Link is down, guys, gets put in cryogenesis or whatever it is, and he awakens 100 years later. So I guess there is some reparations going on to him. He is just fine in the end. But I wonder if this moment is going to be captured in Hyrule Warriors. It has to be, right? This is the biggest moment in Breath of the Wild, at least in the memories. The beginning of the 100 years sleep, you know, that transformed this land, that just saw its entire degradation. Everything that we see around Hyrule being destroyed is happening either now or from now for the next 100 years. And there's Fi, dude. Question mark, okay? There's a lot of Fi references going on here, right? Fi, fo fum. It clearly references to Skyward Sword, even the same sound, the same audio. I'm wondering if Fi or Fo or Fum was going to play a role in Hyrule Warriors. I'm curious. Secret character, a little extra side story. Does she exist? Fan service for people who are hungry to see Skyward Sword again on the Switch. You know, they could very well see Fi in the next game, guys. Hyrule Warriors. Alright, guys, that was a blast to try and make and try to look into. Let me know what you think. What do you think the overlaps between what we see in the trailer for Hyrule Warriors and in the old memories? Now, obviously, I didn't go in through all the memories. Not all the memories are relevant to this video, but if you guys are interested, there's tons of videos out there that show you all the memory cutscenes. You can go watch it just to refresh your memory of the story that happened 100 years ago, as officially as we've been given it in actual Breath of the Wild. And compare it to what you think we're going to be seeing, and compare it to what we have seen in Hyrule Warriors. Guys, keep in mind there is an update for Hyrule Warriors coming in another 2 weeks. So whatever that means, guys, I guess we'll see something new. I wonder if there's going to be new story implications from whatever they show us with Hyrule Warriors 2. I'll be keeping an eye out for that, and I'll have a video up as soon as I can. Make sure you guys subscribe to make sure you're on top of this stuff as well. And I'll see you guys around for the next video. Till then, bye!